If you have ever sat on the edge of your bed for 45 minutes, holding one sock, staring at the wall, screaming internally at yourself to just stand up, but your body refuses to move, you are in the right place. Or perhaps you have opened your laptop to send one email, but the sheer number of steps involved, opening the browser, typing the password, finding the address, felt so physically painful that you closed the lid and went back to sleep. This is not laziness. This is not a lack of willpower. This is a very specific biological phenomenon called task paralysis, and it is one of the most debilitating yet misunderstood symptoms of bipolar disorder. By the end of this video, you will have a 3-part rescue plan for the next time you feel glued to the couch. I'm Clara, your guide at Bipolar Clarity. Let's take a deep breath and find the first step. Before we build your strategy, I need to remind you that I am a passionate educator and an advocate, but I am not a doctor. This video is for educational purposes and is not medical advice. Always consult with your local healthcare professionals for your specific needs. Let's start with the why. Why does this happen? Why can you run a marathon one week and struggle to brush your teeth the next? To understand task paralysis, you have to understand a part of your brain called the executive function system. Think of your brain like a busy airport. You have thousands of thoughts and actions flying in and out every day. The executive function is the air traffic control tower. It tells the planes when to land, when to take off, and which runway to use. It prioritizes, it organizes, it initiates action. In bipolar disorder, the air traffic control tower goes offline. During depression, the lights in the tower go out. There is no one to give the go signal. The pilots are asleep. During mania, the tower is flooded with too many signals. Every plane tries to land at once. The system crashes because of overload. The result in both cases is the same. Nothing moves. You are frozen. We call this executive dysfunction. It is a mechanical failure, not a moral failure. You are not choosing to be stuck any more than a car with a dead battery is choosing not to start. Now let's identify which type of paralysis you are facing, because the key to unlocking it is different for each state. Type 1, the heavy freeze or depressive paralysis. This is the most common. It feels physical. It is the sensation of leaden paralysis we talked about in other videos. Gravity feels like it has been turned up to 10. The distance between the couch and the kitchen feels like 10 miles. Your brain is whispering, what is the point? It won't matter anyway. You are too tired. In this state, the barrier is energy. Type 2, the spinning freeze, or manic and hypomanic paralysis. This is less discussed but equally paralyzing. You have a million ideas. You want to clean the house, write a book, and start a business. But because you want to do all of them right now, your brain cannot pick one. You stand in the middle of the room, vibrating with energy, picking up a book, putting it down, picking up a cup, putting it down. You move for 3 hours but accomplish 0 tasks. In this state, the barrier is prioritization. Type 3, the anxious freeze or mixed state paralysis. This is the deer in headlights. You feel a sense of impending doom. You are terrified that if you open that email, it will be bad news. If you wash the dishes, you will break one. The anxiety is so high that your brain locks down to protect you. In this state, the barrier is fear. Now that we have named the beast, how do we tame it? We are going to use a 3-step protocol: shrink, support, and celebrate. Step 1, shrink, or the micro step. When you are frozen, it is because the task you are looking at is too big for your current battery level. You look at clean the kitchen. Your brain sees scrub pans, load dishwasher, wipe counters, sweep floor, Take out trash. That costs 50 units of energy. You only have 5 units. So your brain says, access denied. To override this, we have to use the ridiculous rule. You must shrink the task until it becomes so ridiculously small that your brain cannot say no to it. Is wash the dishes too big? Yes. Is wash one fork too big? Maybe. Is turn on the water too big? No. Your goal is not to finish the task. Your goal is to initiate movement. Newton's first law of motion applies to human psychology. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. The hardest part is the first 3 seconds. The friction is highest at the start. If you can just turn on the water, you are in motion. Often, once the water is running, you will wash the fork. Once the fork is washed, you might wash the plate. But you are only permitted to commit to the micro step. Let's apply this to the shower block. Showering is one of the hardest tasks in bipolar depression. It involves so many sensory changes, getting naked, temperature change, water drying off. It is exhausting. Do not put shower on your to-do list. Put walk into the bathroom on your list. Once you are there, see if you can turn on the water. If you can't, that is okay. You achieved your goal. You walked into the bathroom. But 9 times out of 10, once you are there, the next step becomes possible. Step 2, support or the external engine. When your internal engine is broken, you need to hook yourself up to an external engine. We cannot rely on willpower. We have to rely on body doubling. Body doubling is a concept from the ADHD community that works brilliantly for bipolar paralysis. The idea is simple. You do a task in the presence of another person. They do not help you do the task. They just sit there. Their presence acts as an anchor. It creates a social scaffolding that holds you upright. How do you do this? Option A, the digital body double. Text a friend. I am stuck on the couch. Can I call you for 10 minutes while I do the dishes? You don't have to talk, just be on the line. There are also websites and apps specifically for this, where you can log in and work alongside strangers on camera. Option B, the audio body double. If you can't call someone, use a podcast or an audiobook. But here is the rule. You are only allowed to listen to this specific podcast while you are doing the task. This is called temptation bundling. You bundle a want, listening to the story, with a should, folding laundry. The dopamine from the story helps jumpstart the engine for the laundry. Let's talk about another support tool, the menu approach. Decision fatigue is a major cause of paralysis. When you wake up depressed, asking yourself, what should I do today, is torture. There are too many options, and you don't care about any of them. I want you to create a low-energy menu right now while you are watching this video. Write down 3 tiny tasks that are always good options on a bad day. 1. Drink a glass of water. 2. Put on clean pajamas. You don't even have to shower, just change the clothes. 3. Move to a different room. When the freeze hits, you don't have to think. You look at the menu, you pick 1. It removes the cognitive load of decision-making. If the idea of creating these menus feels overwhelming right now, I can help. I send out practical, bite-sized tools just like this in my weekly newsletter to help you verify what works for you. It is free, and you can find the link in the description. Step 3. Celebrate, or the dopamine hack. This is where the done list comes in. Standard to-do lists are toxic for people with bipolar depression. You write down 10 things. You do 1. You stare at the 9 unchecked boxes and feel shame. Shame drains energy. It makes the freeze worse. throw away the to-do list. Start a done list. Start with a blank piece of paper. Every time you do anything, write it down. Brush teeth, write it down. Ate toast, write it down. Texted mom, write it down. Why does this work? Because your brain needs evidence that you are capable. When you look at a list of things you have done, you get a tiny hit of dopamine. That dopamine becomes the fuel for the next task. You are hacking your reward system. You are proving to yourself in real time, I am not broken. I am moving. I want to do a quick myth check. Myth, I need to wait until I feel motivated to start. Reality, this is the motivation trap. We think the order is motivation leads to action. But neuroscience shows the order is actually action leads to motivation. Movement creates mood. You will never feel like doing the dishes when you are depressed. The feeling comes after you start or after you finish. Do not wait for the feeling. Trust the mechanics. Move the body, and the mind will follow. Let's deepen the content by talking about the wall of awful. This is a concept created by Brendan Mahan. Imagine every task has a brick wall in front of it. The wall is built of your past failures, your shame, your fear, and your exhaustion. For a neurotypical person, checking email is a task with no wall. For you, checking email might have a 10-foot wall because you are terrified of what you missed while you were sick. To climb the wall of awful, you need gear. The gear is 1. Self-compassion. Acknowledge the wall. This isn't just an email. This is scary for me right now. Validation lowers the height of the wall. 2. Novelty. Do the task in a weird way. Answer emails while sitting on the floor. Write the report in a different font. Novelty spikes dopamine. 3. The timer. Tell yourself, I will only climb the wall for 5 minutes. Then I can come down. Now, let's address the specific paralysis of the manic scramble. If you are frozen because you have too many ideas, the strategy flips. You need constraint. You are paralyzed by the paradox of choice. Take a piece of paper, write down the one single thing that actually matters today. Just one. Hide the rest of the list. Put it in a drawer. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Tell yourself, I am forbidden from doing anything else but this one thing until the timer beeps. Constraint forces the manic energy into a laser beam instead of a scatter shot. Let's create a curiosity gap about transition times. Did you know that the hardest part of the day for paralysis is often the transition? Moving from sleeping to waking, moving from work to home, moving from dinner to chores. These are the stickiest moments. To beat the transition freeze, use a bridge action. A bridge action is a mindless, easy activity that physically moves you from one state to another. Example, you are stuck on the couch, but you need to go to bed. The gap is too big. The bridge action. Stand up and just fill your water bottle. It is low stakes. It gets you upright. Once you are upright at the sink, you are halfway to the bedroom. Find your bridges. Let's do a micro recap of your unfreezing strategy. 1. Identify the freeze. Is it low energy, depression, or too many choices? Mania. 2. The micro step. Shrink the task until it is ridiculous. Turn on the water. 3. The body double. Use a friend or a podcast to anchor you. 4. The done list. Record your wins to generate fuel. Here is your homework for right now. I want you to identify one stuck task, the thing you have been avoiding for a week. Now, shrink it. What is the 1-minute version of that task? If it is laundry, the 1-minute version is pick up the hamper. Do not do the laundry. Just pick up the hamper. If you do that, you win. You are building a new relationship with your own agency. You are learning that even when the main generator is offline, you have a backup generator. It moves slower, it is quieter, but it works. And slow movement is infinitely better than no movement. If this video helped you find the first inch of movement, please subscribe. We are building a library of practical, plain English tools to help you navigate the inertia of bipolar disorder. For your next step, I highly recommend watching the video appearing on your screen right now. It is called the #1 Bipolar Sleep Rule. It expands on the idea of building simple, biological anchors that help prevent the exhaustion that leads to paralysis. Thanks for watching, and remember, the only step that matters is the next one.